Hi, my fellow pulp writers. I am Julie. I am a pulp write educator, as well as I have a salon and work behind the chair. So I get to be really, really hands on with the color. This project that I've been working on, which I'm calling Booster Riot, is a project that I've been working on independently. It's something that I was really interested in finding out a little bit more about the boosters and how to incorporate them and create some formulas that make them a little bit easier to work with. So this is all stuff that's just in my experience from being hands-on with it and just my recommendations. As far as how I created all of these different pieces, I'm going to go over those in a series of videos that I'm going to do. This first video that I'm going to, well, we're doing now, is that I'm going to explain kind of what I did, why I did it, and then we'll dive in as I get the rest of the videos up and loaded. So first I want to start with, a lot of people had questions about my swatches. The swatches I got were from Amazon. They're just natural level swatches. So it's just natural level hair. It doesn't have color on it. It is just as it is. So what I did is I labeled them. It also came with this really cool one that's a like 50% gray. So I really liked that. And full disclaimer, my level 10 that I've used is a inside of a banana level 10. It is a white, clean level 10. So when you're looking at my swatches and see the level 10, it did not have any yellow left in it. So again, these swatches were from Amazon. They just came with little holes in them and I strung them on a cord. Now, what I'm going to start with to kind of go over is the Ash series. So when we look at our Pulp Riot chart for color, we have the Ash series here, which goes from a 10 to a 5. And the booster that's with that is going to be our -11 or -11. And that's going to be more in that violet category. So the first set of swatches that I colored were just plain booster swatches. They don't have any natural color in them. They don't have any of the Ash series in them. It's just the booster. Now, keeping in mind with the boosters, they can decrease the longevity of your color. So I look at this more in the sense of when I'm doing a high level 10 clean lift and I put a booster on top of that, it's probably going to have about the same staying power as the semis would, because you're going to be lifted so light that the hair can't hold that color the same way. So we really need to stress to our guests about proper home care, maintenance, and how we're going to go ahead and take care of that color, because if they're not using the right home care, it doesn't really matter what kind of color they have on their hair. It's just not going to maintain the same way. So it's that cool water, sulfate-free, shampooing as least amount as possible and really kind of maintaining that color for them. So with the -11 series, these were my swatches, and I have the 50% gray because I just wanted to see what would happen. And we do have guests sometimes that come in that have a little bit more mature hair or have embraced their gray, and they want a pop of color here or there. And without having to lift it, I wanted to see what it would do. So it does give a nice reflective shine. On that clean level 10, we get this beautiful periwinkle that really has a lot of shine and dimension to it. And in the 8, we still have some of that reflection, but it is getting a little bit more diluted, and it definitely is a lot more ashy. Now into the 8 here, I'm sorry, I guess this one was a 9. And in the 8, we're getting more and more diluted. So then as we look at from 7, 6, 5, and I know it's not necessarily recommended for 4, and we don't have an Ash in that series, but I went ahead and created it anyway. It gives us a lot more depth and dimension to the color. I promised that I would kind of show these in different angles and lights, and it's really hard when it's a little tiny swatch like this that you're able to see all the different reflective colors. But I was really pleased to see in the deeper shades how much depth it gave, because what we're doing when we're putting color on is we're having to either combat the natural remaining pigment that we are wanting to tone and neutralize, or we're wanting to enhance that natural remaining pigment. So we really have to decide what we're doing first to decide how we want to formulate for that. Now, with all of these swatches, I used a level 10 volume. The reason I did that is because I wanted to open the cuticle up a little bit and be able to expose some warmth. By exposing that warmth, I am able to see a little bit of that natural remaining pigment. I didn't want to go quite into a 20 volume because I didn't want to expose too much. I really wanted to see on tone, but I wanted just enough that it lifted. So that gives us an idea of where I've started with these. Now, I do have quite a few other swatches that were created using different formulas that I came up with. Now, the formulas I came up with were to go with the series. So if it's the Ash series, I have 3 different formulas to add the boosters in to that Ash series that give us a little bit more control over what we're adding and why we're adding it there. I've really played with a lot of different ways of adding the boosters in, and I wanted to have something that was a lot more clear and concise that gave me an idea based on type, texture, and density of the hair so that I knew how much booster to put in for what type of hair, for what type of neutralization, or adding it to enhance. So that's what I'll go over in my next videos. I look forward to sharing those with you, and I can't wait to see you soon. Thanks so much for coming.